Can you eat fruit with diabetes? That seems to be the million-dollar question. Fruit is often seen to contain lots of sugar and carbs, so many people are afraid to eat them. You may have even noticed your blood sugar is getting high when you snack on an orange. So what's the truth on this? Yes, moving to plant-based eating can help your body in so many ways, like lowering cholesterol, blood pressure, and even weight loss. But since you'll be eating more carbs like fruits and whole grains, won't that make your glucose levels go through the roof and worsen your diabetes? If that's what you're worried about, let's talk about it. In this episode, I want to show you that yes, you can have your fruit and eat it. And research is showing that there can even be benefits to your blood sugars by including them in your meals. There's also a secret factor that you may not be aware of, which can have an even bigger impact on blood sugar levels. Want to find out more? Let's get to it! Welcome to the Plant-Based Eating Made Easy podcast. I'm your host, Anna Zinn, plant-based registered dietitian and transition coach. Hi friend, do you want to regain your health with plant-based eating but feel overwhelmed and lost about how to do it? Do you feel it'll be hard to change your meat-heavy diet and impossible with working, running the home, or chasing after the grandkids? If so, you're in the right place. Here you'll find simple strategies, clear nutrition guidance, and practical tips to help you thrive plant-powered with more energy. So if you're ready to ditch the guesswork and transform your health the stress-free way, cozy up now with a hot cup of tea or listen while you walk, and let me show you how doable plant-based eating can be. Let's do this. I think you know how serious a condition diabetes is. You may already have seen the effects of poorly controlled blood sugars in a loved one or friend. I've mentioned before on this podcast how a relative on my husband's side of the family has had both legs amputated due to poor wound healing and infections as a result of diabetes. But there can also be eye problems, kidney issues, and nerve sensation problems in the extremities as well. Friend, are you struggling with diabetes? Trying to manage it with a quote-unquote diabetes diet and medications? You're following what you have been educated on, to monitor and watch your carb intake, but things don't seem to be improving much. In fact, you're already on one diabetes medication, and your doctor is now talking about adding a second one or using insulin. It's scary, isn't it? The worries of going on more meds, having insulin injections, and possibly worse diabetes complications in the future, it's what's keeping you awake at night. If you would like support to bring down your blood sugar levels naturally without meds, through the power of whole plant-based foods, I would love to help. Reach out to me at healthnow@plantnourish.com to find out how I can support you in your healing journey towards better blood sugar control on a plant-based diet. You can also apply for a free rapid health transformation call using the link in the show notes. Let me help you reach your health and weight goals. Now let's move into talking specifically about fruit, diabetes, and a plant-based diet. Do you have diabetes and wonder if eating plant-based can help your blood sugars? Won't all the carbs, especially from fruits, worsen diabetes? After all, your doctor told you that you now need to watch your carb intake. In fact, I remember recently reading what one member in my free Beginners for Plant-Based Diet Success community shared was her biggest challenge. She wrote, "I struggle with watching my carb intake because it's easy to add things like fries, potatoes, bread, fruit, granola bars as fillers. This seems to imply that fruits are lumped into the same category as other not-so-ideal food options like fries and granola bars and should be limited or avoided." Another one commented to me, "I also have diabetes, so I can't have fruit," and asked for plant-based breakfast ideas. It seems that both definitely have a fear of fruit and feel it is incompatible with healthy eating or diabetes. Do you have this same concern? If so, I completely understand. That's why I wanted to do this episode. Let's see if you really need to avoid or severely limit fruits with diabetes. Let's start. First, it's important to know this. Though carbs are often made out to be the bad guys in diabetes, in reality, a more complex interplay is at work. What many people don't realize is that when it comes to diabetes, another factor can have a big impact on blood sugar levels. And that is one's current and past intake of fat through high-fat foods, especially foods high in saturated fat. Over time, excess fat intake can worsen insulin resistance and make it harder for glucose in the blood to be transported into muscle and liver tissues. That may be one of the key reasons why, if you're having diabetes and are on a regular diet or a high-fat, high-protein one, and eat a piece of fruit, you may find your blood sugar levels rising dramatically and staying elevated for a long time. So this is the secret factor that most are not aware of, which could seriously affect their insulin resistance and how quickly glucose clears in the blood. If you would like to learn more, check out the related podcast episodes about diabetes that I have done so far. I will link those for you in the show notes for this episode. Now here's a second key thing to know about eating fruit. We tend to lump all carb-containing foods together, but in reality, there is a world of difference between a natural plant-based food like a piece of whole fruit and highly processed commercial food products. Let's first look at the ultra-processed manufactured food products. These include items like soft drinks, cookies, cakes, candy, and store-bought bakery items. Many of these contain sizable amounts of simple carbohydrates like table sugar and high fructose corn syrup used as key ingredients to sweeten the deal, and can be made with white flour and oils or ingredients high in saturated fats. Now let's look at fruits. Fruits are actually in an entirely different category, and here's why. While fruits do contain small amounts of simple carbohydrates like glucose and fructose, they are naturally packaged with so much more. These include water, a major component, along with complex carbohydrates in the form of fiber, as well as vitamins, minerals, antioxidants, and phytonutrients. That's why eating them is more beneficial for your body than drinking just a tablespoon of honey or eating a piece of candy. So when you eat a whole piece of fruit, you're getting an entire package deal of nutrients. That's why whole fruits are in an entirely different category compared to the processed forms of simple sugars readily available now like table sugar and high fructose corn syrup, and are often added into many commercially processed foods, drinks, desserts, and baked goods. Now here's a third key thing you need to know about eating fruit. It can actually help with your blood sugar control. Are you surprised to learn this? Here are some key reasons why. First, the fiber in fruits can help slow down the breakdown and digestion of the fruit components in the GI tract, and hence slow down the absorption and release of glucose into the bloodstream. Secondly, some research is now showing that fruit phytonutrients can help block some of the transport of sugar across our gut walls by the cells lining our intestines. We are also learning that adding berries to a meal with high glycemic foods can help reduce the post-meal glycemic response and corresponding insulin spike, even though you're adding more carbohydrate or fruit sugar to the meal. This may be due to phytonutrients in the berries like polyphenols such as anthocyanins. As a result, overall blood sugar levels can be kept more stable over time, so not spiking excessively high or dropping excessively low, from insulin dumping into the blood to try to bring down the glucose levels and overshooting this. Can you now see that there are lots of benefits to enjoying fruit? So today we talked about 3 key things you need to know when it comes to talking about eating fruit with diabetes. First, know that it's not all about the carbs. Your current and past added fat intake, especially that of saturated fat, can have a big impact on insulin resistance levels in your body and how well you can eat fruit without it sending your glucose levels through the roof. Secondly, there is a big difference between eating whole pieces of fruit versus highly processed commercial products, which are rich in simple carbohydrates like white sugar and high fructose corn syrup. Thirdly, fruit can also help in improving your blood sugar control in many ways. So that's why you can eat fruit even if you have diabetes, and it's not too high carb even on a plant-based diet. Now here's a simple action step you can take. Add in at least a half cup of frozen or fresh berries to your dinner meal sometime this week. Think of it as having a naturally sweet dessert to round out your meal. Friend, if you've been struggling with your blood sugar levels and don't know how to bring them down naturally on a plant-based diet, reach out to me so I can support you. Send me an email at healthnow@plantnourish.com. I want to support you on your health journey towards improving or reversing diabetes and to optimal wellness. Thank you for listening to the Plant-Based Eating Made Easy podcast. If this podcast has helped you, please rate and leave a written review on the Apple Podcast app or iTunes to let me know. Nothing will lift me up more than to read your review and see how this podcast has made a difference in your life. I also pick reviews to read on this show, so your review could be one of them. Come connect with me in my free Facebook community group, Beginners for Plant-Based Diet Success. Just go to bit.ly/PB Diet Success. That's bit.ly/PB Diet Success. You can also subscribe and follow this podcast to get notified when a new episode goes live. Signing off now, this is Anna, and I wish you the best health always.